Welcome to On the Fence, the show that's about helping you decide whether or not to spend your hard-earned money on the biggest and possibly best releases. Nick,
Hans.
before we get into anything, I would like to propose to you a gentleman's wager.
Okay.
I bet a $5 this episode gets hit with a copyright strike for music.
Okay.
Would you like to take me up on that action?
Sure, yeah.
A gentleman's agreement.
Wait, no, of course it is.
No, you already said yeah. I have it there recorded. You've already said yeah.
I'll just turn on streamer.
No, just turn on streamer. Nick.
Hans.
Today we are looking at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
The latest one in the latest game in the Marvel gaming universe, which is rapidly becoming a thing.
Yes. But none of these games have actually been linked yet. Well, Spider-Man is soon to be linked with. That's not the same Spider. They came out and said it wouldn't be the same Spider-Man.
How can they fuck it up?
I don't know.
Paul Feige was able to do this, but did you laughing at my pronunciation of his name?
Feige.
But then
Cream free.
that's his poor name. Right. So yes, or rather Nick, is going to show us what exactly Guardians of the Galaxy game is.
Yes. You may have seen our stream.
You did see our stream. You better have.
I don't know if it works in anyone's mind. But yes, Guardians of the Galaxy is a video game.
You say that every time.
Am I incorrect?
Yeah, well, every time you are correct. What type of video game is it, Nick?
It is a third-person action adventure.
Oh my lord!
What? You good?
That was very loud.
Was it?
Yep, found the power cell.
Okay, sorry, that just blew my eardrums. Third-person action shooter, did you just say?
Yes.
It's grand.
Gotta be more machinery.
We have no. So yeah, that was very evident from our stream. You had your pew pews, your elemental blasters, and then you had to. This very much seems to be like a mix of like there's no cover in this game.
Correct.
Like it's very much a case, very arcadey.
Yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah, you're pretty much constantly on the move.
Yeah.
The second one done.
Okay.
And then you obviously have your partners here.
Said Guardian.
Your fellow gardeners of the galaxy. So how do they play into the gameplay, Nick?
So, outside of combat, they typically do stuff like that. So you can see like these walls have scratches on it, so I can tell like Gamora to go like anchor into that wall so I can get a boost. Mm-hmm. And you'll see here, yeah, so as part of the story where I'm at the minute, I've just gotten new abilities for Star-Lord's, his blasters. So,
and how much you bet that these enemies are weak to lightning?
So, you'll see the way each enemy kind of has an icon beside their health bar?
Yes.
It's kind of telling you what they're most susceptible to. So, you'll see these guys just blaster fire, and I'm sure later on this fight you'll see lightning people also turn up. But yeah, in combat then, you control your guardians with... they will be completely proactive themselves. They will go fight enemies, they will attack and kill people, and then you can tell them to do their own abilities. So whenever I hold down RB, it slows down time, and I can command say, let's say, I want Rocket to throw a grenade at that guy. And he does so. So the way that works then is different guardians kind of have... Oh,
cheers!
I think I flipped off the edge, yes. So you'll see kind of each guardian has their own kind of like uses. So Gamora is really good at like single target, high damage. Drax is really good at building up an enemy stagger meter, which then lets you deal more damage to them. Something like similar to say something like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Mm-hmm. Rocket focuses on like big AoE damage, and then Groot is kind of like your crowd control.
Yeah. So you've talked about their grenades and their Groot being able to root up enemies. Have you found out yet if you can like do they just have that one type of attack, or do they get multiple attacks?
No, so if I go into the menu here, you'll see kind of each Guardian has 3 abilities and a super ability, which you kind of unlock at set points of the game. But their regular abilities, you spend these skill points to unlock. So each one starts with one. So Rocket starts with his grenade, but then he also gets one that does have some form of like CC on it because it pulls in a bunch of enemies into one area. So it's a gravity grenade, and you'll see Groot gets like. So he, outside of just being able to tangle up one person, like a whole group of people, he also gets one that can tangle up like one big person, because obviously that...
Like a boss almost sometimes, yeah.
So, like, there's different uses for them. Like, Gamora even gets, like, one that does deal AoE damage. Like, she'll fly around attacking different people. So, it's not just that one thing they do. It is kind of a bit different.
That's okay, I was curious. So, like, while we're on this elevator to wherever it's going, what is the story of Guardians of the Galaxy?
So this starts fairly early on in their career as Guardians. But also before we go into it, I will show off the huddle.
Oh, okay.
Huddle up, Hans. Pep talk time. Also, tell me that first chord doesn't sound like it's about to start busting into I'm the best.
Yeah. That's probably done intentionally.
So these huddles they give you a damage boost, so they'll feed you like a conversation. I think there's about 24 maybe, I think I've heard. I have heard some repeats now that I finish the game, like towards the end.
Hurry up, it's timing out.
So the way it works is they'll say something, you'll kind of see keywords in the background there, and you just have to kind of pick the option that matches up to their keywords. If you get it right, everyone gets a damage buff, all their cooldowns are reset, and their cooldowns come back way faster. If you get it wrong, only Star-Lord gets the buff, and only his cooldowns are affected. Everyone else just kind of continues on as normal.
That's not so bad then.
And you get sick music to play.
Yeah, this is the bit where we're going to get done for the copyright. And you said with the huddle, you've only really encountered one repeat, or did you encounter...
So I've encountered a couple of repeats. I think they definitely probably like feed you a new one until you've heard them all, and then they start repeating them.
Yeah.
Because definitely not, once I heard one repeat, I think everything I heard had been a repeat.
Grand, okay.
Which is fair, like, you obviously can't account for how many times someone will actually activate this in the game.
Yeah. But like, I wonder, is there a way that you can maybe do it in such that, like, you have a set random, like, number of random ones, but then, like, in certain boss fights where, like, they're like, chances are this is going to happen, or certain areas, like, chances are you're going to get this in a certain area, make it that scenario-specific one or something, you know? Like, say, for example, like, you're getting that, if you saw our stream, the big whale octopus thing, have them be like, oh, how can we fight something with so many tentacles? Because that would only be relevant to certain enemies and stuff, you know? So that's the stagger meter below.
Yeah. So once they're staggered, they kind of stop moving, and then they'll start taking extra damage. So it's smart. So like they kind of build it up as a way. So like, all right, you stagger them with Drax, and then you can kind of get Gamora to do her thing and do a butt ton of damage.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll get these like kind of finishing moves where you just kind of instantly execute them. But sometimes, like, depending on who's nearby, they'll like tie in, like, it'll be like, oh, Star-Lord hits them, then Rocket hits them, and then...
Yeah.
And more often than not, for some reason, Star-Lord finishes it with a super kick, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that's fine. He's a big 80s fan, you know, I'm sure.
Probably was way into wrestling, yeah.
So, Nick, yes, we were talking about the story then, so what is the story then of the Guardians?
Yeah, this is fairly early on in the Guardians' career, like, it's implied that kind of Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord have kind of been doing this for a while, but then they've obviously then recruited Drax and Gamora, and I think it's kind of been implied Gamora's been with them for about 4 months or so. So, obviously this is a completely different canon from what, like, the MCU is.
Yeah.
So in this world, like, there was a galactic war with Thanos, but it wasn't over, like, the Infinity Stones or anything, it was just Thanos that aligned with the Chitauri to...
Which one is the Chitauri?
The ones that were in the Avengers movie. They look very different, they are swole as fuck in this.
Oh, right.
Do I have them in the compendium yet?
They are, and the Chitauri and the MCU are just kind of more ravenous creatures, like they were like beasts more than anything else.
No, I don't think I have them yet. But they are very, very swole. Is there pictures of them here? No, damn.
Perhaps they are
So,
recharging their personal devices.
that war was taken care of. Like, Gamora swapped sides, and like that was one of the kind of key moments in the war. Drax killed Thanos, or it's implied that he's killed Thanos. Drax doesn't actually confirm or deny that he did or not. And then,
Get up higher to see what's going on.
Any ideas?
Working on it.
I need this kind of person.
I think I have an idea. Use your roots to raise that platform with me.
So
on it.
that was fine. They did that, and then
Root boost thing.
kind of Quill was part of the resistance during that war. He ended up in prison where he met Rocket, and then they've kind of spun off and now done their own thing as the Guardians.
Like a mercenary group.
Yeah,
Almost. Or-
Heroes for Hire. I think they're essentially calling themselves.
Might be gunning for your job soon.
Okay, that's fine. That's over there. So
You frequently sit in the
the setup to this is they're in the middle of a job, and Star-Lord accidentally unleashes a powerful entity, which then kind of coincides with the Universal Church of Truth kind of becoming a big force again.
That's the whole
And then essentially, where we are now, we have come to pay off our fine to Novacore, and have discovered that essentially the station has been abandoned, and anyone who's here has been converted by the church.
So you say converted, like I think it brainwashed more
Yeah.
rather than actually.
Buddy,
Yeah, essentially they are shown a promise of like, oh, give us your belief and like this will come true. So for like later on in the game, kind of it's shown that kind of each Guardian has their own promise that they kind of try and get tempted with. So like Peter is, oh, like we'll bring your mother back. Gamora's is like, oh, we can bring back Nebula and things like that.
Was Nebula dead in this
Yes.
canon?
So yeah, it kind of becomes like that, and then from where we are now, we've just come back and like we haven't really figured out who they are yet at this point.
out of here.
Anyone who knows the comic will have immediately gathered who they were, but the Guardians don't know, and they're kind of figuring it out as they go.
Like I will say, like it is very, very
Reroute it.
cool. Like that they have gone for their own
That open.
canon. Like and it's such a so
Okay,
many stark
my costumes stay unlocked.
like with so many stark contrasts as well. Like you know the fact that Nebula's dead, like that's quite a big one. The fact that Thanos might be dead is also a massive one.
Yeah.
You know, like that is a very cool way that they're kind of separating themselves from the MCU.
Yeah.
Even in like, and you've mentioned yourself the fact that you are going more for a
Doors open, and I got the
comic
power flying
accurate,
through.
like physical appearance of
Yeah.
the guys, rather than kind of more the,
Thanks.
you know,
Yeah, so like I keep hitting start instead of back. So like yeah, so they have like I choose all my costumes. Yeah, look at that.
oh, you can actually.
Look at adult ass child Star-Lord.
That is very weird.
Yeah, yeah. So they have kind of like obviously this is maybe a bit more inspired by like the MCU than like the other ones, but then there is the traditional stuff, and like they actually do all have like kind of neat like things. So like this is like the description here is like, oh, this is like the first set of uniforms I designed for the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And things like that. So like they have obviously taken some of it with them and been like, yeah, okay, this works. Like we can, like we don't want to just ape on the MCU. Like people do have MCU inspired costumes, obviously, because I don't think you would be able to get away without doing them because they're such a big touchstone.
I think it's, yeah, well that's like the MCU has introduced a lot of casual fans to
Yeah.
what the comic world is. You know, like when Guardians of the Galaxy movie was first announced,
on the other side.
I was definitely one of the people, but like, is that
Who?
really? Yeah, like, is that really going? Like, is that really going to like get people? I know it's one of the most popular franchises,
Yeah.
and like, and like, let's be honest, like, there would not be a Guardians of the Galaxy game
Yeah, let's see how far
if
you
Yeah.
get without
not for the MCU
pusher.
films. Like, and I genuinely believe that.
We can agree that whatever's going on upstairs is really bad, right?
So this is the ship. If you watch the ship, this is the same ship
Yeah.
from the stream.
Yeah, this is Hal's Hope.
Wait to
No, sorry, this is the Rock.
Whatever it is.
This is the like Nova Corps
Alright, this is our
headquarters.
floor.
Oh right, so right.
But we have tracked Hal's Hope to here.
right, okay.
Sealed tight.
Gamora, can you pry that thing open for us?
And bend my sword? Nope.
I do like that if you like tell someone to do something wrong, they'll be like, I can't fucking do that.
Panel where all the wires connect.
Step aside.
I do feel like out of all of them, personality-wise, Gamora seems to be the most different. Like, she is
That.
more, like,
No, that.
she definitely seems to be a bit
Something's powering
more
up.
less straight-laced in this than in, like,
Yeah.
the previous, like, in, like, the MCU ones.
Dude, I know you're peeved, and I'm sorry.
Apology accepted.
Really? That's it?
In case you hadn't noticed, there's more important things happening right now than Quill saying he's sorry. Whoa!
So-
Flark and Scott! What are these frackling gaboons doing to Contraxia?
What is this thing, Rocket?
I don't know!
That looks like a big cannon. That's what that looks
No,
like.
it's the reverse of a cannon.
Do with those
So what,
It's a sucking cannon.
What?
What? It's a sucking cannon.
So it's sucking
It's a cannon. It's sucking faith energy.
faith energy?
Yeah, that's what the Universal Church of Truth is.
What the fuck is faith energy?
Y'all believe, Hans?
So if someone has a belief in something, they could just suck it out of you?
Yeah. Exploit your promises. Gotta believe.
That is really dumb.
Bruce, we need to check out that giant ray thing. Can you
I love how they just seem to be so cool being close to this giant weapon.
It's fine. Well, what could go wrong?
It could fire and then vaporize everyone.
We don't even know what it is.
Plus, we'd probably end up taking out the entire ship.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're definitely doing that bit then.
Let's avoid the scary beam.
Good advice.
Guardian of Galaxies, Cosmo check. Investigation.
Okay, Nick,
Well, what, you got a problem with the talking dog?
there appears to be a dog in the corner.
Yeah, it's the first dog that went to space, Hans.
Yeah,
Traxia isn't looking so good.
so Cosmo's in this?
Yeah.
The space dog?
Yeah, he is the head of security on Nowhere.
Piotr Quill.
Something just came up. We'll call you back.
Oh yeah, it's Nova.
It is a Nova. It is a Nova Centurion.
Necessary here, woman.
So have you faced, is this your first time facing this?
Yeah, one of these guys, yeah.
That could be her.
Oh,
He's dead as fuck,
dead
yeah.
as fuck. Wow.
So you see these guys have like blue shields, which then means, yeah, so the lightning will kind of chain between them and get rid of their shields pretty easily. Oh, I fucked up that jump.
So there is some amount of tactics then, just in
Oh,
terms
yeah.
of matching up elements and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I do think the combat is the weakest part of this game. I think it, especially like this is about a third of the way into the game. You can see there's like 2 more slots on my like kind of elemental wheel down there in the bottom left.
Yeah.
So you do get 2 more elements, and they do obviously do different things. So like the ice element freezes people, the lightning element chains from person to person. You get a wind element, which kind of can pull people from like far up like ledges down to you. And then you get a fire element, which can kind of deal like damage over time.
Yeah. Like, although, like, so you said, like, the combat is kind of the weakest part, like, is it bad enough that it puts you off, or is it just kind of like paint by numbers?
I wouldn't say it's bad. It just feels it never evolves. It just gets. I don't want to say more tedious because I think that's the wrong word, but it just seems like the fights start taking longer as enemies kind of get more health. And so like, it's not like you suddenly have to start doing new things. It's just all right. I can do the same thing to get through this fight. It's not. It just takes longer because the enemies are.
Just
Yeah,
damage sponges?
they are stronger and have more health.
Yeah.
It's so it's disappointing, but I can also kind of see.
Jesus. Drax just chucked that thing
Yeah.
and just blew the arse off that guy.
They do not fight as one. This is simple.
Divide and conquer.
This is how it's done.
Oh, Superman punch.
Seems to me like this ship might be
Right,
around
the guy who designed the combat, this was clearly
Definitely a wrestling
Yeah,
fan.
absolutely.
Have any idea where she is?
I'm thinking we check her off.
What is... So, like,
how we can get there.
I suppose you said, like, so the combat is probably the weakest point of it. What would you say is the strongest point, then?
So I just like the writing in this game is
Rocket, can you see where
absolutely like fucking top notch. Like it is. There is so much writing. First off, that all remains like a super high quality, and just the way they've kind of got the characters interacting with each other, the way the story evolves, everything about it just like really, it feels like a Guardians like thing, and like not just the case of oh this is what the Guardians are like in the movies. Like they have managed to capture like the feel of the comics as well. and like it's just the writing just overall is so high quality, and I think also just the acting as well. Like I didn't actually recognize, especially for the Guardians anyway, like I didn't recognize any of the voice actors, but they all give like a like top tier performance, like throughout the funny moments and like the more emotional moments that happen on like later on in the story.
Yeah, so like I know in our stream, like the comedy was very much there, and I was, well, geez, like watch out.
I'm good.
Yeah, like the comedy was very much there, like especially with like, you know, Rocket and the dead end,
Yeah.
and Rocket like hacking the visor.
Unifier has detected
But,
an intrusion.
like-
Spread out.
It will be contained.
The funny bit about it is as well, like although Rocket is like probably one of the funniest characters here,
Still don't get why you don't have the kid back
he's actually one of the most like
things I ever saw you
emotional, like because
Yeah.
I remember when like that bit where he's talking about like, is it Layla or something?
Yeah.
One of the other experiments he tried to escape with, he died. Like, I was really sad. Like just completely, this is a random out of left field conversation, you know.
Yeah, like there was moments later on, I think, with like all the Guardians, or like group, kind of, like where you just like they do show like a very emotional side of them all, and like it never comes across of like cheap or like, oh, you're just trying to get us to care for this person, like, but about something that's so like meaningless. So like it's all done very well, and it's all done like really smartly, and it never feels forced that like, oh, I'm trying to be guilt tripped here. It's like it is no, these are like genuine emotional moments.
Yeah, I think as well, like just as you noticed there as well. So are you on Hell's Hope now again?
Yeah, I think we've now like kind of.
Because I remember this bit from the stream, just obviously less broken.
that the captain and her kid are probably dead, right?
So it just popped up on the screen there, the selection stuff and the choice. They've kind of said there is choice and consequences. Have you noticed it, or
So you definitely get some bits of it, but
And Corell's a warrior.
from what I know, like there is one ending to this game. Like regardless of your choices, you will get the same ending as everyone else. But there's definitely been like little moments that could have played out differently. I don't know, like the effect they would have had if they played out differently. Like when it comes all like when this all comes to like a conclusion later on, it's depending on like certain choices, like different people will show up when you like have your final confrontation with the Universal Church of Truth.
yeah, like I know one of the big ones they showed was about which character you choose to present to the Master Huntress.
Lady Hellbender.
Yeah, and it being either Rocket or Groot.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen kind of how that choice does play out towards the end. And then I've also seen on our stream as well the elevator. So like in your entire conversation with Nikki, you can be nice to her, be mean to her, and then that kind of climaxes in the elevator, and whether she trusts you not to give you
The card.
yeah, like the
So I think it's in this level. I just can't remember if it's already happened or not. There is actually a bit where I think I probably like avoided an encounter or two because I had that passkey,
oh, very good.
which I think, yeah, like that's the kind of thing they're probably going for, like little like minor things, like, but also like, yeah, like they're still neat when they actually. It's still neat when it pops up to say, oh, because Nikki give you that passkey, you're good now.
Yeah, like you can go this way and avoid a couple of fights. Yeah, you're right. Like that is, it's one of those things like where like people will say like choice and consequences don't matter, but when you do small things like that, that does make them matter, and it's a really easy thing to do as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things like it depends what your definition of matter is like.
Yeah.
If it gives me like a sense of, oh, I did something that caused something different to happen, then yeah, that's enough for me. Like it doesn't need to be like
Change the world.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be, oh, this is going to dramatically affect the ending. If it's like, oh, this, like I got like an extra, I saw like a different area or I saw a new room because of what I did.
Yeah.
Like that's enough for me personally.
Yeah, like I think one of the good ones is like The Witcher 3 is probably one of the best choice and consequences game out there. And I think it's great because like a lot of the time, sorry, that
I can go through this door. Oh god,
seems really dumb. I like one of the things with that is, for me anyway, is like how
oh, I need to stop this door.
you can literally like there's times literally it's just like sometimes when it's a more humanoid monster, Witcher 3 would be a case of, look, I'm gonna let you go or else I'm gonna fight, like I'm gonna fight you, and that, like the only difference in that is literally, well, you either have a boss fight in that quest or you don't have a boss fight in that quest, and
Yeah.
that's a small difference, you know. Like that is still a choice and a consequence that matters. And yeah, all right, it might affect your reward at the end, but you know, whatever. So no, I do like the choice of consequences in this seem to do matter, like, and they do either whether it be on a big scale or a small scale. So I do like to see it.
Pretty cool, right? Nikki?
Little one, reveal yourself.
Maybe try being a little less scary.
It's Peter! The pirate? Nikki!
We doing?
Rocket, you got the body of a little girl. Can you fit in there?
Try again, Quill.
Ask him nicely, Peter.
I do like that. Like, it's stuff like that. It's like, it's really well done. Like, it's almost like, I'm sure some cynical person will be like, oh, they're making me fucking do the input twice. But because they make such a good joke out of it, like, it makes sense and it plays into the characters.
That's the thing. It plays into the characters, like, for the sake of like having to put the input in twice.
Yeah.
But I think also that what it does is it plays it in a certain way. Like, you know, it plays into the idea of what a game is. You know, you don't assume that like you're gonna have to put that input twice. You just assume that Rocket will go and do it.
No, I mean it.
It just adds to the charm.
Quill, you gotta see this. This kid's obsessed with you.
Wait, why does she have your toy?
It's just something I gave to Corel when we were together during the war, like a keepsake. It doesn't mean anything.
Does,
So are Gamora and Peter are together in this?
No.
How old is the child?
12.
Ha! Congratulations, Peter Quill. You will make a terrible father. Unless the child is dead, in which case, it does not matter.
wait, is this why you dragged us here?
Clearly, the child is 12.
Yes, okay. So the dates maybe kind of match up, so it's possible, I guess. As long as they had a health class on this.
Inspiring.
Can we just focus on if Corel and Nikki are okay? They're clearly not here, so let's move on and keep looking.
Did you find out what age Star-Lord is in this yet?
No, you don't.
Does it have like a profile page?
Actually, I wonder would it be in this there is a bit later on where no, it doesn't say. No. There's a bit later on where you actually have a chance. I think it's in this level where you have a chance to go through everyone's like criminal records.
Yeah.
So I wonder.
Would it be there?
Yeah.
He ain't here, Quill.
I think he's still
Nick, with the tantalizing story beat of that Nikki might be Peter Quill's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to show us, or do you want to just jump on ahead to...
No, I'm happy to jump on ahead.
Yeah. So, we will now jump ahead to Nick's final thoughts and opinions on Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, Guardians as in like Peter would be Nikki's guardian if he's the father.
Yes.
Quill did not sire
Genius.
the child after all.
So that was footage from Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. But as always, Nick, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If I was on the fence about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, what would you say to me?
Well, if you're interested in Guardians of the Galaxy, no, I do. Like, I have absolutely loved playing. Like, I've completed the game now.
Yeah.
I've absolutely loved like every minute of playing it. It's really enjoyable. It's really well written. Gameplay peters out a bit towards the end of just maybe becoming a bit too repetitive, a bit too long in the tooth. But all the other bits around it are at such a high bar that it lifts the gameplay up, and it's well written, it's well acted, it's all super engaging, and it's been an incredible ride from like start to finish. I wholeheartedly would recommend this. Like, there's no like, it's something that actually like playing Miles Morales Miles Morales is a very like, there's no guff in that game. It's kind of like a breakneck pace from start to finish. This reminds me of that. Like, there's no padding, there's no like, oh, go collect 80 million of these things just to kind of make the game longer. Game's about you'll probably find out it's about 15 to 20 hours depending on how you play it. no padding. It's just like from the word go, like the game never lets up, and it's really, really enjoyable throughout.
Do you think that
So this could be like
non
super valuable then.
Guardian fans will, like, if say if I was just looking for a game to play, would this appeal to me, or would you kind of need the kind of like Guardians MCU to kind of get into this?
I don't think you would necessarily need, like, it'll obviously help, and you'll kind of like know what the characters are about a lot quicker. But I think they do a good job of, like, from that very first prologue mission, I think they do a very good job of like establishing who the characters are, of like what kind of archetypes they fill within the group, and like the way they get on, their relationships. And obviously, like, they've done enough to separate this from the Guardians that are in the MCU that, like, having that knowledge, it's not a massive help. You'll notice something cool, like, you'll be like, oh, I recognize that character's name, but I do feel like this almost appeals more to the fans of the comics than it does of the MCU, to be honest, because there's a lot of deep cuts in it. There's like,
Darkhawk.
yeah, there is deep cuts that, like, you'll never see in the MCU, and all in all, it's just, like, I don't think you necessarily need to be a Guardians fan, and if you're not, this game will probably make you a Guardians fan, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of looks like it appeals to me. It looks like it appeals to both. Like, I definitely, like, if you enjoy the movies, you'll enjoy this game. But also, if you are more a comic fan, you'll probably still enjoy this game too. The Easter eggs and stuff will appeal more to the kind of comic side of things, like Darkhawk. Like, that's really going for like deep lore and Marvel. But like, I think like just from the little bit we've played, like where they talk about Kree purity, breeding laws and stuff, like that's stuff I didn't know about, and whether that is canon or not in the like in Marvel, I don't know. But they had to do a good job of explaining it. But no, I say, I definitely am very excited to get into this. I've downloaded today, and I will probably start playing it today. But yeah, you have said possible, very highly Game of the Year contender for yourself as well.
Yeah, I think, like, I've really enjoyed it. Like, I don't, like, the combat is a very, very minor negative you could put against the game, but everything else in this game, I think, is at such a high quality that it'll definitely be up there for my consideration at the end of the year.
It is nice to have a game that isn't just open world, and
yeah, like I so, like, listening to like other reviews of this and other people playing it, like someone has said, like, it feels like a very like 2008 game. Someone said, and like, it makes sense. Like, it's not an open world thing. It is like, there is like pretty much defined levels or chapters, whatever way you want to call them, and like, you're not being encouraged to kind of spend a lot of time looking around. Like, yeah, there's little secrets hidden around the place, but it's just costumes. Like, it's not something that'll ever really affect the gameplay.
it's like, we're probably going a bit long in the tooth for this, but like, it's like Ratchet and Clank games.
Yeah.
Now, they did have one or two in the new one, a couple of open world-ish areas, but there is a lot of collectibles, but they're hidden behind panels and stuff like that. You're not having to go miles for them. Like, not every game needs to be open world. Can we just say that right now? It is getting a bit long in the tooth, and a bit like, Jesus, we get it. Fucking, yes, what we can do with technology now is amazing, but not every game needs to be open world nowadays. It just doesn't. And it is a breath of refreshing air whenever a game like this comes along, where you need, like, 10 to 20 hours, knock it out, and it's fantastic, svelte, no guff experience that is just really well honed. Okay, that's what I'm not doing. Yeah, so that is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Currently available on everything apart from Switch, I believe?
No, it's on the Switch.
Oh, is it on Switch?
It's on the Switch, but it is the, like, some stuff they've done on the Switch is like, it is streamed. It is not like an actual, it's not running natively on the Switch, so you won't need like an internet connection.
Yeah. In and around $49.99. Thank you very much for joining me, Nick.
No problem.
I don't believe it's on any streaming service or any
No, it's
subscription
not
services.
on Game Pass or anything.